Yesterday, the verdict was announced. Ghislaine Maxwell has been found guilty on 5 of the 6 different charges that she was facing. If you want my initial reaction to that, we did talk about it with Cenk Uygur on the Young Turks yesterday. But in the wake of that decision, we have had a number of different statements put out by the victims in this case. And we wanted to provide a few of those reactions for you. So the first of all, for the first reaction, we have Annie Farmer, one of the victims who actually testified at the trial, who said, "I am so relieved and grateful that the jury recognized the pattern of predatory behavior that Maxwell engaged in for years and found her guilty. She has caused hurt to many more women than the few of us who had the chance to testify in the courtroom. I hope that this verdict brings solace to all who need it and demonstrates that no one is above the law." And that is true, that there are not only more specific victims that didn't testify, but we also, we all have this impression that this thing is broader, both in terms of the number of victims, but also in terms of the people who were involved as perpetrators of these crimes. We don't necessarily have any reason to believe that we're gonna have justice in that area or even understand who all the victims are. But I'm glad that Annie Farmer recognizes that. Her sister also tweeted, by the way, in immediate reaction to it, "Annie and I are sobbing with joy" as the results came out. And so usually in these cases, Brett, we'll talk about what our expectations had been for, would she be found guilty? I honestly didn't really have any impression. I mean, Epstein was found guilty, we did have that. So that's some reason to believe that there could be accountability, but I guess I just hadn't wanted to invest myself in getting my hopes up or anything. But she was found guilty, so that's something.
Yeah, for me, what's insane about this whole situation is, I'm very happy that they found justice for the people who ran a ring of sex trafficking, but what blows my mind every time is there's a photo of Ghislaine Maxwell at Chelsea Clinton's wedding. Is that real? Is that fake? I feel like there's enough very real photos of all these people, Alan Dershowitz, who we'll talk about in a second, I'm sure, and all these other folks, Donald Trump, Prince Andrew, the Clintons. They all went to these crazy ass parties together. And they were like, this is cool. Bill Gates, they're all going and hanging out with this dude.
You said Musk, right? I wanna make sure that we know that.
And Elon Musk, I didn't, but yes, they were all around in this, according to the testimony we've seen and photo evidence that we have, they all hung out with this dude. And I don't know how to reconcile that in the wake of all of it. To what, at the very least, I'm glad that justice is done for the people, though, Ghislaine Maxwell, the surviving, dawn of the creep crime family, who was there. Yeah. But I can't wrap my mind around the experience of what it must be like where Bill Clinton's like, all right, I'm gonna be back in a couple days. Me and Bill Gates and Trump gonna hang out on this island where you get rub downs from young kids. What?
Yeah.
And that not knowing what to do with myself is going to continue because there's no way in hell they're going to anything's gonna come of it with those other people we just mentioned.
With the tapes that supposedly existed and all that. Yeah, no, just apparently, he was an awful guy. And he had a woman who sort of worked as his henchwoman to track down these people. And they had all these parties, and nobody who went to the parties did anything wrong. Apparently, that's just, I guess that's the truth. Anyway, let's give you reactions from a few more of the victims, including Virginia Giuffre, who said, "What Ghislaine did to so many of us is unforgivable. She used that charm, that wit, that smile to come off as somebody you want to trust. She described the verdict as bittersweet emotion because I've been fighting for so long." She went on to tweet, "My soul yearned for justice for years, and today the jury gave me just that. I will remember this day always. Having lived with the horrors of Maxwell's abuse, my heart goes out to the many other girls and young women who suffered at her hands and whose lives she destroyed. I hope that today is not the end, but rather another step in justice being served. Maxwell did not act alone. Others must be held accountable. I have faith that they will be." And maybe, I guess she would know everything, all of it. Are they going to try to get that information from her? Or would they be able to? What would they have to do to get her to reveal this information? Would she could be facing 40 years. What are they gonna cut that down to? She's already so old. Would it even be persuasive to her? And I know as we're sort of speculating about this, a lot of people are probably, I think, fairly, thinking the people that you identified that are in the pictures with her are some of the most powerful people on both sides of the political spectrum. So that's not going to influence this. Like, if we never find out anything, who is going to say, oh, it's because there was nothing to find out? Like, who would actually believe that at this point? It sucks being put into this position. It's happening increasingly often where we're made to feel crazy. We're made to feel like we're the conspiracy theorists when it is so blatant, so right in front of us, Brett.
John, I did finally, so that we could stay friends, I did finish Wheel of Time and the show. And it, much like, everybody knows there's multiple books that go on forever, so I'm not giving anything away, but I'm not gonna give any details. But like at the end of the big season, it reveals there's more to come, a bigger, the larger wars to come, essentially. And that's in Game of Thrones too. The large war to come. This is a perfect way to end the season of 2022. Because this is something that is thematically linked to the major political struggle that everyone should identify, worry about, speculate about, and organize to win going forward, which is you have people on the left and people on the right, and they've all been in these camps and they've all been fighting against each other. And at the same time, within each of those camps, there's the elitists and the people. And the biggest fear of the elitists is that the people are going to discover that the elitists are just hanging out together on some private island.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. And was there crime happening there? Was there the worst kind of crime? Yes, there was the worst kind of crime happening there. There was child sex trafficking.
Yep.
And if you're arguing about worse crimes, yes, I'm sure we can get in an argument, but it's going to be an argument that tears you apart inside because they're all terrible crimes.
Yeah.
But that is something that sets up next season where on every issue, people in the elite are going to continue to try to struggle to keep the people on their side and woo people over to new elites in new categories. But the truth is, and I'm referring to Tucker Carlson and everybody like him, that those folks also hang out at giant dinner parties together in their ivory towers as you try to figure out how to eat tonight.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
You know what should have broken through in that area? Like, nothing will, because nothing does. But when Tucker Carlson, when it was revealed that he had asked Hunter Biden for like help for his kid to go to some school that apparently the kid wasn't qualified to go to. And it's like, okay, well, look, first of all, it wasn't like it was just last year. So, okay, that's fair. But like, I went at the time and I found stuff that Tucker Carlson was saying about the Biden administration, the Obama administration at that point. And he was talking about them, that they're insane racists who are trying to fundamentally remake America, and they're coming for your kids and they're gonna ruin the world. And oh, hey, by the way, son of the vice president that I'm vilifying, could you help my kid get into a place? And also I'll see you at dinner, next week or whatever. But it doesn't cut through to people. We are a country of people who think that there's a chance that if I'm nice to Elon Musk on Twitter, he'll become friends with me. Like, that's not how this works. How this works is that you can get away with terrible crimes for a very long time. That's basically how it works.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.